every vacation comes with a demise, I guess. On the way back from California, coming out of Albuquerque, my pickup truck, the check engine light came on and the accelerator was not working at all. In other words, there was no fuel going into the engine. So I pulled over, turned the car off, turned it back on. It was driving very slow, and fortunately, I was close to a rest stop where I pulled in and called the towing company, who brought me over here to Coast Auto, I believe in Longhorn, New Mexico. And as you can see, my truck over there on the bed of that tow truck, they're bringing it down. And we also had to haul my my trailer, where you can see all the way in the back. And so what's gonna happen is, while they're working on my car here on the shop, the owner of the shop said that I could camp in my RV overnight, if that's the case, if that happens to be a scenario where I would have to spend the night here while they're working on the truck. The throttle for the towing vehicle was pretty much out of commission, and for somebody who's not a mechanic, it's really hard to replace that. But I was lucky enough to get to a shop and get it replaced. That wasn't too far from where I broke down. However, if you are planning on doing a very long journey, I think a great thing to do is do a full tune-up on your towing vehicle before you hit the road. That's probably something that would save you a lot of headaches. What's going on, guys? I'm Sebastian, and you are watching RV Foodie Nomads YouTube channel, where we take you on a culinary and cultural journey into American RV life. In today's episode, I want to share with you a few challenges that we faced when we were heading back from California on our cross-country journey. One of the main reasons why I wanted to share this video with everybody is because I want to help other campers avoid these types of challenges when they're traveling. And taking a few steps before you start the road trip can really help you avoid these problems. So stay tuned as I show you step by step what you can do so that you don't run into these issues like we did on our road trip. It's important to check your towing vehicle and your RV before you hit the road on the day of the travel. Doing an inspection before you leave could really help you avoid some of the problems I faced when I was heading home on my cross-country journey. I start out the inspection by checking the tire pressure on both of the vehicles, not only the RV, but also the towing truck. And most RV owners, they use the digital tire pressure monitoring system, which is fantastic. But I know if you are a newbie, you may not want to spend that kind of money because it is relatively expensive. So your best alternative would be a traditional tire pressure gauge. This is a very inexpensive device that you can purchase not only in Walmart, but also any auto retailer around the country. So it's very simple to use. You just stick this plastic part of the device onto the tire air cap, and when you do that, you get a plastic bar that pops out of your device, and it gives you the reading. And I know it's a little hard to read, but it tells me this is about 45 psi right now. So you do that with all of the tires to make sure that they are properly aired at the manufacturer's recommended PSI. Now that's usually printed on the outside of your tire. You can find it anywhere. And most American tire manufacturers, actually all tire manufacturers, have the reading on the tire, and it'll tell you exactly how many
psi your tire needs to be, and based on that you air all of your tires. So the next task is to look underneath your towing vehicle's hood and make sure that all the fluids are topped off. And this is really important, especially when it comes to the engine coolant. If you're driving in states like Arizona and New Mexico where it can get really, really hot, it's important that you know your cooling system is working properly and it has the fluid that it needs to operate. Also make sure you have enough oil in your engine. The last thing I do is a walk around inspection of the RV to make sure everything is secured and nothing is loose. When you're driving down the highway, these units tend to shake and vibrate a lot, so that results in screws and loose components becoming detached as you're driving, which not only is dangerous but could also become a huge damage to your unit. So that's why it's critical that you look for anything that's that doesn't look right. So, and I do that by looking underneath the RV, look at the underbelly, look at the axles, look at the tank components, make sure all the valves, the lines, all the screws, the bolts, all of those things are tightly secured and they won't cause any problems. Having a black tank valve loose while driving on the highway was exactly the problem I ran into when I was leaving Albuquerque, New Mexico. And in the next clip, you will see exactly how that went down. So I realized the black tank line on my RV was kind of shaking a lot when I was driving, and I could see it in my rear view side mirror on the driver's side. So I pulled over to see what's going on, and I realized the metal holder that holds the whole line is actually broken. It's completely cracked. As you can see, it's completely detached from the bolt, and that's because of all the shake and the vibrations when you're driving. And this could be a very costly damage if you don't address it immediately. What's gonna happen is this thing is eventually gonna fall off, and if you have a black tank, you can only imagine all that sewage is just gonna start pouring out onto the highway as you're driving, and you're gonna have a lot of people that are gonna be wishing you bad stuff. So we want to avoid that. So it's important when you're doing long drives to pull over once in a while and check everything underneath the RV, make sure that everything is still attached and it's tight. So that way you can avoid a lot of the damages that it could cost you. So I'm gonna go ahead, and luckily I have my little tool case that I can go ahead and reattach it with a bolt. It's all the way back in, and this thing is nice and tight. It doesn't shake anymore. And I'm very happy I caught this just in time, because this could have been a serious damage. And I still got about 2,000 miles to travel. So once I was able to resolve the issues I had with the pickup truck and the RV, I decided to head into Albuquerque to get some food, and also to take the night off from driving. I was very tired. I was frustrated after dealing with all these problems. So once I had everything fixed, I decided to get a campsite at the historic Route 66 RV resort, which was fantastic. There is a New Mexico style pastry that's called sopapillas. It's kind of like puff pastry, if you will, and it has a lot of the
Tex-Mex influence, the Aztec a little bit in there, but it's just a very nice doughy sweet pastry. So I'm gonna go in there and grab a box, especially because my wife has been bugging the crap out of me about getting these sopapillas for her. So she's the boss. Oh yeah, baby. This is the famous New Mexico style sopapilla. Now you add honey to that with a cup of coffee. Yum.
If you want to continue watching our journey, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Also, follow us on all of our social media platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.